Hi everyone. I know you guys have been waiting for this comparison for a long time. So I've taken some pictures in normal mode, a night mode and portrait mode. I'm not going to cover ultra wide and macro because Google Camera 7 does not support those functions, and you need to install Google Camera 6.1 if you want to support ultra wide, and you need to install some config. I don't use wide camera as much, so I'm going to use the Google Camera version 7, and also I wanted to use the latest version as well. I'll start with video first, as I don't like the video of Google Camera on Pixel device as well. So this camera has bugs as well for rear camera. So when you turn on the stabilization, you'll see a green screen on Google Camera. So you have to turn the stabilization off. Also in normal 1x mode, it will zoom automatically for some reason. So you need to zoom it to 1.1x to make it functional. So let's see the footage first. This is camera recording from Moto One Plus inbuilt camera app. This is camera recording from the rear camera with Google Camera. So this is the camera sample from rear camera, and you have seen the colors are not as vibrant as compared to Moto native app. Now coming to the front camera, so Moto native app is trying to focus more on the dynamic range, but Google Camera tried to focus on my face more than the dynamic range, so the back will look a little washed out as compared to Moto native app. This is front camera sample from Moto inbuilt camera. You can see the dynamic range. This is the front camera sample from Google Camera on Moto One Fusion Plus. You can see the dynamic range. So as you can see, I think for video you should stick to the native app rather than the Google Camera, because video was never Google's forte anyway. Now let's start with photos. In daytime you will find that the difference between two photos in 100% crop is just colors and not much, but when you zoom in you will find that Google Camera lacks some details. Yes, Motorola is trying to sharpen an image a little bit, but it has more details than Google Camera. In the next photo you can see pictures look identical, but when you zoom in you can see the same thing in the tree. Google Camera images are not as sharp as native app. In this next picture you can see they are very close, but I find Google Camera is handling HDR a little better, and it's maintaining colors better in tree and clouds, but as in Motorola native app it's more focusing on the colors on cloud rather than tree. In the next picture I find Google is doing much better job with colors and contrast, and photo looks appealing. It's not that Moto's picture is bad, but I find Google Camera picture a little better and ready to be posted on social media. When it comes to indoor shot, Google Camera handle HDR better. I changed the setting to HDR enhanced in Google Camera setting. But there is one problem, there is more noise in Google Camera picture. But that's not the case in a next picture. As you can see, here's Moto picture is grainy and lacks details, but when I turn the night mode on both of them, the noise has gone in Moto, but the white balance is weird, while Google is maintaining the white balance much better. I also try to take pictures in pitch dark. By default, Google Camera is doing some processing, so picture looks a little better and more bright than the normal native app. But when you turn the night mode on, you can see Moto has outperformed Google Camera here. GCAM's picture has more sharpness but more noise as well, so I think Moto wins here in my opinion. In this next picture, the difference is very minimal, but when I turn the night mode on, white balance on Moto app changes completely. Moto's night mode is basically going to enhance the light but not control the white balance very well. Google normal camera mode performs better than Moto sometimes, but in night time it's mostly Google Camera which maintains the better balance between light and white balance. Moto will just try to brighten the picture and doesn't really care about the color in night mode. When it comes to front camera, Google makes everything contrasty, but it has better colors. Like you can see on my mask, the color is better. But my skin is sort of red, but on Moto you can see my mask color looks pink more than maroon, so it's a little bit washed out, but it's not bad. And when it comes to front portrait, by default Google Camera zooms up to 1.5x, but you can turn that off in advanced settings. In terms of edge detection, both are doing a good job, but because of that zoom, Google picture look more appealing to me. In artificial lighting, Google Camera has weird colors, but Moto is trying to smoothen skin a little more. But the beauty mode is turned off in both of the apps. When I switch to night mode, Google Camera doesn't change much, but Moto is kind of reducing the contrast to make it look more brighter. In artificial portrait shot, Google performs better and bokeh looks natural as compared to Moto. And I also turned off the 1.x zoom so that you can have the better understanding. But when it comes to rear portrait shot, I will prefer Moto photos. Google is making everything dark, and I think the edge detection is much better on Moto. In conclusion, Google camera works better in a lot of things like selfie, portrait, and night sight. But in daytime, Moto camera produce much better details, and in video, native apps work fine. So looks like you have to use both of the apps. You just need to decide where and which app to use. But in case you want to decide and keep one app, I would suggest go for native app because there are no bugs. Also, the video performance is much better in the native app. If you enjoyed this video, a like will be appreciated, and please also comment about your thoughts. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do that as well. My name is Rohit. I'll see you in the next one. Till then.